Welcome to Learn with Saim, where history inspires, and heroes come to life. Today, we uncover the legendary story of the man who fought without a sword, led without an army, and built a nation with vision. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, From Birth to Death, a tale of courage, wisdom, and purpose. The beginning of a legend. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Every legend begins with a silent spark, unnoticed, quiet, but destined to light the world. On a cold morning of the 25th of December 1876, in a modest home in Wazir Mansion, Karachi, a child was born. No fireworks, no celebration, just the cry of a newborn who would one day create a new nation. That child was named Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Humble roots, powerful spirit. Born to a Gujarati-speaking merchant family, Jinnah wasn't raised in palaces. He didn't inherit political power. What he inherited was far greater. Discipline from his father. Determination from hardship, dreams that defied his surroundings. His childhood was marked by curiosity, sharp intelligence, and self-respect. He wasn't the loudest in the room, but his presence had weight. Teachers noticed, friends admired, family knew, this boy was different. Journey to London, shaping a fighter. At the age of just 16, Jinnah made a bold move. He traveled to London to study law, leaving behind everything familiar. While others were learning to walk the safe path, Jinnah chose to walk alone, into the unknown. He studied at Lincoln's Inn, one of the world's most prestigious law institutions. Among hundreds of names engraved at the entrance, he chose to have his under-prophet Muhammad's name, Pbuh, out of honor and pride in his Muslim identity. A barrister with a mission. By age 19, he became one of the youngest barristers in the British Empire. He wasn't just learning law, he was learning the language of power, the mechanics of justice, and the tools to challenge empires. The world saw a lawyer. But history would soon see a leader. Silent rise of a storm. Jinnah returned to India with a sharp mind, flawless English, and an unbreakable spine. He began practicing in Bombay, slowly gaining respect. But he didn't just want a career, he wanted to serve. He wanted to give a voice to the voiceless, a place for the powerless, and a future to the forgotten. That quiet spark from Karachi was now turning into a flame that would light up the path for millions. Heroes are not born great. They rise from ordinary beginnings, with extraordinary determination. And in 1876, a legend began, not with a roar, but with a whisper. The whisper of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the man who would lead a sleeping nation to freedom. Becoming the voice of voiceless. Some men speak to be heard. Others speak to awaken nations. Jinnah did the latter. The entry into politics. Upon returning from London, Jinnah had everything. A brilliant legal mind, a flourishing career, respect in the British courts. But that wasn't enough for him. He looked around and saw injustice, division, and silence, especially among Indian Muslims. He couldn't stay silent. He didn't come back just to win court cases. He came back to win freedom for the oppressed. In 1906, the All India Muslim League was formed, and by 1913, Jinnah had joined its ranks. But even before that, he had started his political career in the Indian National Congress, hoping for Hindu-Muslim unity. The ambassador of unity. In the early years, Jinnah believed in cooperation, dialogue, and shared progress. He earned the title, the ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. He strongly supported constitutional rights, equality, and peaceful progress. But dreams faded. He began to see the reality behind political promises. Congress leaders spoke of unity, but their actions favored one majority. Muslim voices were ignored. Muslim culture was belittled. Muslim identity was slowly being erased. Jinnah tried everything: letters, petitions, dialogues, appeals. But when all efforts failed, he rose. He became the voice for the voiceless. He left Congress and fully devoted himself to the Muslim League. He didn't seek power. He sought justice. He didn't fight for religion alone. He fought for dignity, safety, and survival. One voice, millions behind. In an India of over 300 million people, Jinnah stood alone at times, speaking not just for the elite, but for the poor farmer in Punjab, the shopkeeper in Bengal, the tribesman in Baluchistan, the student in Aligarh, and the mother raising her child in fear. He said, "We are a nation with our own culture, language, religion, identity, and we deserve a homeland." And suddenly, the voiceless found hope. They stood behind him. They marched with him. They dreamed with him. Because in Jinnah, they saw not a politician, but a protector. When your voice shakes, remember Jinnah. who spoke when no one listened, stood when no one supported, and fought when everyone feared. The transformation. Jinnah's speeches were calm, but filled with fire. He never raised his voice, but his words echoed across the subcontinent. He gave Muslims confidence, identity, a dream bigger than fear. He gave the world proof that leadership doesn't need noise, it needs clarity, character, and courage. He didn't speak the loudest, but he spoke the truth. And in doing so, he became not just a leader. He became the voice of the voiceless, and the heartbeat of a future nation, Pakistan. The struggle for Pakistan, a nation in the making. Some people dream in silence. Some fight alone, but only a few make the world listen, and change the course of history. Muhammad Ali Jinnah didn't inherit a nation. He didn't demand one overnight. He built it, with tears, sacrifices, and an iron will. The turning point. After years of pleading for rights and being ignored, it became clear. The Muslims of India were not safe in a system controlled by the Hindu majority. Their language was under threat. Their culture was mocked. Their faith was politicized. Their future looked like slavery under a new ruler. Jinnah saw what others didn't dare to speak. India is not one nation, it is two. And on the 23rd of March 1940, at the Lahore Resolution, Jinnah made the historic declaration. The Muslims are not a minority, they are a nation, and they must have their own homeland. From that day, there was no turning back. A struggle without weapons. Jinnah didn't believe in bloodshed. He never picked up a gun. He believed in the power of words, the strength of unity, and the weapon of truth. But the journey was brutal. He was mocked by opponents. He was abandoned by friends. His health broke, but his will stood tall. Even when his doctors begged him to rest, he replied, "I do not care if I live or die. I care only about Pakistan." British leaders were confused. Indian Congress leaders were angry. But Jinnah stayed calm. He outsmarted them all, with law, logic, and unmatched patience. He negotiated with giants like Gandhi, Nehru, Mountbatten, and every time, he stood for one thing only: the rights and safety of the Muslim people. Behind his sharp speeches and strong eyes was a man who was dying silently. Jinnah had tuberculosis, a deadly disease. But he hid it from the world, for years. He knew, if the enemy sees my weakness, they will destroy the movement. So he smiled, stood tall, and kept fighting. Even when his body was collapsing inside, he gave up his health, so his people could live in peace. Finally, after decades of struggle, sacrifices, pain, and relentless effort, Jinnah's vision became reality. Pakistan was born, a homeland carved not from war, but from the mind of a determined leader. He didn't just create a country, he gave millions an identity, a future, a home. Quaid-e-Azam didn't need a crown to rule. He ruled hearts. He didn't need armies to fight. He fought with truth. And he didn't ask for anything, except the right for his people to live in dignity. That was his struggle for Pakistan. A struggle that gave birth to a dream called freedom. Challenges and sacrifices, the price of freedom. Behind every flag that flies free, there is a story written in tears, pain, and sacrifice. And behind Pakistan, stands one man, who gave everything, so his people could have something. Challenge one: political isolation. At first, Jinnah believed in unity. He joined Congress. He supported joint efforts. But when the Congress leaders pushed Muslims to the side, he spoke up. He was mocked for his beliefs. He was pushed out of the mainstream. He was told, "You're dividing the nation." But when the system silences your voice, resistance becomes duty. And so, he stood alone. Fighting not for votes, but for truth. Challenged to personal losses. He paid a price no one could see. His beloved wife, Rati, passed away early. He was estranged from his daughter, who didn't share his vision. He spent years in exile, loneliness, and quiet heartbreak. While others celebrated family and festivals, Jinnah spent nights alone, building the foundations of a country not yet born. He gave up love, so his people could live with honor. Challenge 3: failing health. In public, he was a lion. But in private, he was dying. Jinnah was battling tuberculosis, a disease that slowly eats the lungs. His doctors begged him to rest. His body begged him to stop. But his mission kept him going. "I cannot rest. I have a nation to build." He kept his illness secret, fearing that enemies would use it against the cause. Every step, every speech, every breath, was a fight against death. Challenge 4: no resources, no support. The British didn't want to divide India. The Congress didn't want Pakistan. World leaders didn't support the idea. Yet, Jinnah, with no army, no wealth, no media, faced them all. He built unity in scattered Muslim lands. He raised a voice for the poor and powerless. He demanded a homeland when everyone said, impossible. He fought against two giants, British imperialism and Indian domination, armed only with justice and belief. The ultimate sacrifice, himself. In August 1947, when Pakistan was finally born, Jinnah didn't rejoice. He saw bloodshed of innocent Muslims during partition, refugees walking barefoot, hungry, and homeless, riots, chaos, and a country born in fire. He worked non-stop to organize relief, build government systems, and guide the new nation. He sacrificed rest, health, and peace, even after victory. And just 13 months later, he quietly left this world. Some men die after achieving greatness. But Jinnah, he sacrificed himself to achieve greatness for others. The comfort he gave up became our independence. The pain he endured became our freedom. He gave his life, so that Pakistan could live. The dream realized, birth of Pakistan. The day when a vision became a nation. There are moments in history when the impossible becomes real. When the world stops and watches a dream turn into destiny. On the night of the 13th of August 1947, the air across the Indian subcontinent was filled with tension, tears, and anticipation. And then, midnight struck. A new nation was born. A new name echoed across the globe, Pakistan. The land of the pure. A homeland at last, after decades of struggle, after years of sacrifice, after countless sleepless nights, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah's dream stood tall on the map of the world. A homeland for the Muslims of India, where they could practice their faith freely, live with dignity, preserve their identity, and shape their own future. This was not just land. This was hope, safety, and survival. The man behind it, Jinnah, stood before the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan on the 11th of August 1947 and said words that still echo. You are free, free to go to your temples, your mosques, or any other places of worship. His dream wasn't just for Muslims. It was for justice, equality, and unity. He didn't just create a country, he laid the foundation for a civilized nation. Born in pain, but this victory came with a heavy price. Partition caused one of the largest migrations in human history. Over 15 million people displaced. More than 1 million lives lost. Trains full of dead bodies crossed borders. Women and children attacked in the name of hatred. While the flag of Pakistan was raised, tears rolled down the faces of millions who lost homes, families, and innocence. Pakistan was born, not in celebration, but in blood and fire. Jinnah's heart was heavy. Even as he became Governor General, Jinnah didn't smile with pride. He worked day and night to shelter refugees, build a functioning government, stabilize the economy. He was sick, exhausted, and in pain. But he never gave up. Because this was his life's mission. A message to the nation. The foundation of your state has been laid. It is now up to you to build it. Quaid-e-Azam, he reminded the people, this is just the beginning. Unity, faith, and discipline would define Pakistan's success. The dream may be realized, but the real work begins now. On the 14th of August 1947, a line was drawn. But it was more than geography. It was the line between oppression and freedom. Between fear and faith. Between history and destiny. Jinnah's dream was finally realized. And a nation was born from belief. That nation is Pakistan. Some leaders leave with applause. Others leave with noise. But Quaid-e-Azam left in silence. And that silence still echoes in every corner of Pakistan. A nation born, a leader fading. After Pakistan's creation on the 14th of August 1947, the world celebrated. But Jinnah did not. He saw what others ignored. Millions of refugees, barefoot and broken. Riots tearing families apart. A nation without a system, without resources, without stability. While the world clapped, Jinnah went to work, day and night, ignoring the pain inside him. He didn't rest. He didn't recover. He kept building, while his own body was collapsing. His secret battle, unknown to many, Jinnah had been suffering from tuberculosis and lung cancer for years. He kept it hidden, even from his closest allies. Why? Because if they knew he was sick, they might think the dream was dying too. So, he wore the same suit. He gave speeches. He attended meetings. And he carried a dying body with a living mission. A bedridden hero. By mid-1948, he could barely walk. His speeches grew shorter. His doctors were worried, but he refused to leave the front line. I have given everything. If I have to give my life too, so be it. On the 11th of September 1948, Jinnah left Quetta and returned to Karachi in extreme illness. As his ambulance reached the city, it broke down on the road. The father of the nation lay in pain, in the heat, on the side of the road. With no air conditioning, no crowd, no comfort. Even in death, Jinnah remained humble and heartbroken. The light goes out. That night, at 10:20 p.m., Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the man who created Pakistan with words, vision, and fire, took his final breath. No grand farewell, no last speech, just silence. A silence that screamed louder than any voice. A silence that said, mission accomplished. Now, it's your turn. He left, but never gone. His body was buried in Karachi, but his soul became the spirit of Pakistan. His health was gone. His time was over, but his legacy lives forever. Every schoolchild that sings the national anthem, every flag that flutters in the wind, every prayer made in peace, is a tribute to Quaid-e-Azam's sacrifices. He didn't live to see the Pakistan he dreamed of, but he gave us the chance to build it. His final days were filled with pain, but his life was filled with purpose. And though the man is gone, the mission, the message, and the spirit of Muhammad Ali Jinnah will never die. Motivation and legacy. From the quiet streets of Karachi to the global stage, Quaid-e-Azam proved that you don't need to shout to be heard. You just need vision, courage, and faith. Let his life remind us every day. Struggle shapes destiny. Belief builds nations. And one man can change the world. Subscribe to Learn with Saim for more stories that inspire, educate, and motivate. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this tribute to our great leader.